Urban Polling Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Cochran, by trade, a doctor of physical therapy, owner of Joy Explorations, and a member of the clinical evidence team for urban polling. Today, I had the pleasure of having an open conversation with one of Urban Polling's newest partners and a personal friend of mine, Erin Gallardo, co-founder of NeuroCollaborative. She's going to give us her physical therapist journey and how NeuroCollaborative came to fruition. She's going to tell us why she felt impelled to start a platform like NeuroCollaborative for neurologic clinicians and explain the importance of finding a specialized neuroclinician for people with neurologic diagnosis. We also discuss urban polling and NeuroCollaborative's upcoming collaboration and even dip into our personal ultra race that we are running together in November. You don't want to miss this episode, so let's get started. Being here today.
Awesome. Thank you, Joy. I'm really excited to be here and talking with you.
I am excited to have you join us today as well. We've known each other for a few years. Do you remember how we met exactly?
Wasn't it from NeuroSpark or NeuroTribe or?
I was thinking maybe, yeah. And then we've just kind of hung out together at all of the conferences and become friends. So I really appreciate you coming on here. And we've actually have a race coming up next month that we're going to be doing together, which is awesome and ultra. And we might touch on that a little bit later, because I know that you sometimes relate your career to your running and how those kind of gel together. But let's get started. I'd love for you to tell the audience a little bit more about you professionally as a physical therapist and how you got to the career that you're in right now with NeuroSpark.
Yay. Okay, cool. So I've been a physical therapist for about 17 years, and I've always been in neuro and loved neuro. I'm a board certified neurologic specialist as well. And basically went to school in Ohio University, and moved to California right after that for the sunshine and palm trees and the American dream, I guess, because I just really wanted to escape winter. So started working at Rancho Los Amigos, and immediately just loved neuro from the very start. But as I was working there, I felt like I learned so much, had great mentors, great mentorship, and I just didn't necessarily see myself wanting to be in an administrative position in a hospital. So I wasn't really sure where I might go from there, just because it was a great place to start, but it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do forever. And so I ended up going into private practice, where it was like, oh, I can have more freedom to do things that I want to do when I want to do them and help people in a different way and expand access to care, because a lot of hospital systems can have really long wait lists and it can be difficult for people to get in to see their specialist. So that was really fun to be in private practice that way. But one thing that was always true about me, and that continues to be true, is that I really love learning and I love community and getting together with people, going to conferences and chatting and brainstorming together. And I thought, man, it'd be really fun if I could do more of that. So that is essentially how NeuroCollaborative became formed, because Claire and we had two other colleagues early on, when it was still just a little brain idea to create a community. We said, let's create something where we can talk to other people and help them with their neuro businesses and careers and creating programs. And then in 2018, Claire and I said, let's actually make this real. I want to make it official. I want to do this more so we can help more people and build something that's a little more expansive for all the clinicians across the US, not just in the local area. And so that's kind of how NeuroCollaborative started. But you mentioned NeuroSpark. That is one of our main programs, and that's the membership we have that provides continuing education and mentorship for neuro PTs, OTs, assistants, and students. Was that a good summary?
Awesome. That is a good summary, and it is amazing. And I have been in it, I think, since you started the clinical piece, because it started out as, like you said,
Yes,
NeuroTribe, I think.
you're right. You
Um,
started in January 2020 when we got our clinical. I think you were one of the founding members there. Yeah, because we did start it out at the end of 2018. We called it NeuroTribe, and we were really promoting to people who had businesses, which you do. But I don't know if you knew us at the time or anything, but we were talking to people who had businesses or wanted to create programs in neuro, since it's so different than an ortho clinic and you need to know different things. And so we wanted to have a place where people could learn from each other, so that our goal is really to have neurospecialty clinics in every community across the US and the world, really. But so that's how we started. But everyone wanted continuing education, and mentorship and continuing education are so important to all of us, and we love learning. So when we met JJ, she was a founding member of NeuroTribe. That just became a natural transition to say, oh, well, let's collaborate, which is the name of the game with us. Let's collaborate together to put together a continuing education track for people who want that. And it definitely took off, because that is what most clinicians want, is that mentorship and continuing education.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you that don't know, JJ Matter-Tinley is an amazing clinician, speaker. I mean, she does everything. I don't think she sleeps. I think she's always helping people and doing things, and she's amazing. And that is how I started on the clinical side. And the reason why I own my own company now is because of the confidence and everything that I learned from Neuro Collab, the Sparkies. Like,
Yeah.
just being able to sit in to listen to
Oh,
other business professionals that are out there and starting their own company and taking that leap, it really helped me, because I can tell you that when I went to school, I didn't want to go into admin either, because this is my second career and that just wasn't for me. But I never thought I would be a business owner either. But it's the most liberating thing, like you said, like being able to have my own schedule and do things when I want to, and really have the freedom to create whatever events you want is pretty amazing.
that's so cool that that was a big motivation for you. That was what we were hoping to see. Like, it is doable, even if you don't ever envision yourself as a business owner, because I never, ever did either. And I never would have thought I'm doing the work that I'm doing now, because that kind of career path didn't exist when I was first starting. And when I was a little baby clinician, like, there wasn't this online space. And ours is different than like online courses, because it's like ongoing access, and the information is dripped out like in live calls, but little bits at a time, so you can actually apply it and learn and then meet so many different people. Like, you and I are friends now, and we have friends all over the place, thanks to having a community like this, where you just don't get that experience from a conference or from a course. As awesome as those things are to have, it's different when you have a place where you can like continue to connect with people on an ongoing basis.
Absolutely. And it is all about the learning piece of it. And I'm just like, I was sitting there today, I'm like, okay, I need to go back, and this is what I really need to focus on over the next few months. But being able to go back into your library and pull those things out, or know that something new is going to be coming up. But yeah, the collaboration, we see the same people on there, and you start talking to them, or you're on their social media feeds. And even if you don't
Yeah.
know them personally, you start becoming, you know who they are. So they're kind of your friends without knowing them. And then when you meet them, it's really awesome to do some more of that collaboration. So yeah, so yours is a NeuroSpark is a membership
Yep.
basis. And so how many people are do you have in the membership now, and from where? Where's
Ooh,
everybody located at?
I know it's fun. We have people everywhere. So we have over 400. I think we're about like 425 right now. And most of them are in the US. We have some in Canada. Australia has become like a pocket for people looking for that community and the neuro learning, neuro nerds out there. New Zealand. I think we have someone who just signed up in like the Philippines and India, in Great Britain, in Ireland. I mean, they're kind of Dominican Republic. We have people a lot of places. So it's very exciting.
Awesome. So let's talk about if so maybe there might be some clients or that are listening to this, somebody that actually would be our patients. Can you explain to them the importance of why they would want to, if they are a person that has had a stroke or traumatic brain injury or Parkinson's, why they would want to find a neuroclinician?
Yes. Oh man, it's really important to find someone who understands your disease process and diagnosis and the challenges you might be working with. They're going to know so much better about how to approach your care and your treatment in a way that is meaningful to you. So understanding what to expect, answering your questions in a way that is actually helpful, and then progressing activities the way you need them to be so that everything is very function based. It's working on your specific goals. You're not wasting your time, because what you could find when you go to any clinician, I think there's a number of amazing physical therapists out there. And there's also some that aren't as great, which every profession has. But if you go to someone who doesn't know neurologic conditions as well, you just might not get better as quickly. You might not hit the meat of the issues that you have that you're dealing with, and you could feel like it was not effective. You could feel like PT didn't work for me or OT didn't work for me, and that might not actually be true. It really could be just because that person doesn't know quite enough about how to help you. So a neurologic clinician is dedicated to working with people with neurologic conditions. And so they've had a lot more training in it, and they understand how that connection between your nervous system, your brain, your motivation, the psychology, everything you're going through applies, and can provide a program that will really treat exactly what you need to be working on.
I think it's so true, and I think that it's not very well known because um, as physical therapists, there's so many different specialties that are out there. And doctors don't, I don't think even necessarily know. They refer people to physical therapy. So they call and they make an appointment for physical therapy. And the person that has the neurologic condition might be seeing the best orthopedic physical therapist that's out there, but it's not the same as seeing a neuro based. It's just like other professions. You want
Yeah.
to be seeing the expert in what you're working with and through, and so that they can help you the best that they can. So, yeah, really, that's one of my missions lately has
Mm-hmm.
been to making sure that people are getting to the right people, because you're right. I've had so many people are like, physical therapy was a waste of my time. And I'm like, no, 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 you just weren't seeing the right person. And it's not just neurologic, but my older adults, my geriatric population as well. I mean, I think there's a special group of people that really like to work with them as well. And
Yeah.
so making sure that you're getting to the right physical therapist, I think is huge.
It's just like any other medical profession. Like, you're not going to go to a cardiologist for your plantar fasciitis and expect them to like know how to treat it. It's like, we got to go to the right people.
Absolutely. So is there anything else that you want to tell us that everybody should know about NeuroSpark Network or NeuroCollaborative that we haven't
Well,
touched on yet?
yeah, I mean, basically, we like to help people who especially are working in rural areas or areas where they don't feel like they have coworkers, mentorship, and support. I think there's a lot of therapists out there who love neuro, and maybe they're the only one at their clinic who's doing it. And they don't have someone else to like brainstorm with and shoot their ideas with, and get that ability to just say, hey, I'm working with this person. Like, I'm not quite sure what to think about it yet. Or you're getting bombarded with so many different clients that you're not necessarily feeling as confident as you want to feel working with. I feel like we're really well suited for them. Like, we can basically be those colleagues that you don't have at your place. And it really was designed based on what I wish existed when I was earlier on in my career, and that science of learning. We are not really meant to learn everything in a giant block of time. We forget, over half of whatever we learn within a weekend course or something, because our brains just don't absorb that kind of content in that time span. So we did design it to be something that was like, hey, what if we could have a place where, you learn some things, you can apply them immediately, you reflect on it, you come back with your questions, and then you get to learn something else. And that's really how we were meant to learn. There's a lot of studies on learning, and that's how they say to do it. So I think that would be something that I want to say, just to differentiate, like how it's a little bit different to be part of a group. And then the other thing is that we have to make sure that fun is infused in everything we do as much as possible. So it's going to be a fun time and a fun course, and you're going to learn more when you're having fun. And it's not going to feel like, oh, this extra thing that I have to do, because you're going to really look forward to and enjoy the learning experience when you come onto the calls with us.
Absolutely. So I love it because we'll have a call, and they're an hour long, and then we will readdress, not exactly, but in a different format, the same thing that we kind of we'll review it again. Like JJ will ask for case studies, so people can submit their real life cases and say, "Help me! Like I have this person, and I need to know how other people are treating." So you're getting 400 other people's ideas, like being able to collaborate with 400 other people, like that's just amazing. And everybody has such great ideas. And then again, like we're going to talk about dendrite days here pretty soon, but then it usually is kind of a little, not a review, but it also touches on what we've learned in that quadrimester so that you're reiterating those things that we're learning. And I think that's excellent too, because you're right. Learning everything at one time and like in a weekend course is awesome and exhilarating. And then you're so overwhelmed on Monday that you're like, how do I start? Where do I start? And then you don't have access to the teacher anymore or the other people that were there learning with you and stuff. So it's been really helpful for me. And I love the format.
Oh, that's awesome. I know I kind of think we're going to see more of this format, because it really does work well. And there's a lot of people that appreciate and like have learning in this model. And I definitely feel like it was something that I was craving early on, which is why we decided to do it like this. But we also always wanted there to be an in-person component too. So that was why we started doing what we call Dendrite Expansion Day, where we could have an in-person event where everyone could come together. Everyone's invited from the membership for free to come together for a deeper integration of concepts that we've covered. And so that's what's coming up in the fall that I'm very excited about, because we've done this just like a few times live now since COVID happened, and we didn't get to do it live as much, but
And there's something to be said about being in person, right? Like,
yes.
I understand that this platform can't be in person all the time, but just seeing people at conferences and having this live in-person dendrite day is really fun and cool and energizing and just totally different than being online all the time. It's one of my favorite ways.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. This time we actually have it being co-led with PT and OT instructors. We're going to have 3 patients coming in who have different situations, different diagnoses, different goals. And then it'll essentially be just a giant co-treat with everybody who wants to brainstorm and work on things and help them through challenging things. And we're going to have people who have some significant challenges that will be a great representation of what people might be seeing in the clinic, so that you can really feel energized, invigorated, and like you have new ideas to come back to when you're working with your caseload back at home.
That's amazing. And that's October
26th.
Excellent. And so that's actually kind of how we started urban polling, right? That was kind of the kickoff for the collaboration that we're going to have going forward and the partnership, because I came to you and said, we really need to do an activator course because there's so many synergies between NeuroSpark and us trying to really help clinicians be the best that they can and get the right tools into people's hands so that they can help their clients better. So I'm super excited that the day before the Dendrite Day, we're going to have the activator course for everybody, any Sparky that's going to be there or anybody in the area. So we're super excited to be able to teach that and collaborate with you in regards to the Dendrite Day.
Yeah, I've been wanting to take the activator course ever since you talked about it. So I'm glad that it is an option to kind of partner those together. And hopefully we can get some Sparkies who want to come as well, because it is just like another amazing tool. And that's something that part of what we have created in our platform is bringing clinicians in touch with different companies that we all have the same aligned mission. Like, we want people with neurologic conditions to live better, perform better, feel better. And in order to do that, we need to know what are some of the great things that exist out there that are, even especially these ones that are invented by PTs or OTs, clinicians themselves. How do we get these in front of more clinicians so they know what is out there, so they can help their patients and clients get their hands on them? And that's why these kind of collaborations are really my favorite.
I learned about the activator pulls probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I took them into the clinic, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I learn about these in physical and PT school? Like, these are so awesome. And then when I started my company, I'm just like, they help. I mean, so many of my clients become more independent, improve their confidence, improve their quality of life. And so, yeah, just trying to get more clinicians to be able to see them. And I tell clients that I'm using, I'm like, you need to take these to your PT and to your doctor and
Ooh.
tell them about them, right? Because that's sometimes you're going to give them the best tools to be able to
Yeah.
help you and their other clients. So I try to get it to go both ways in regards to not just me showing clients, but having clients show their other healthcare professionals. Like, these are tools that are out there that are really helping me. They might help somebody else that you're
Mm-hmm.
working with as well.
That's a really good idea. I do wish I knew about the activator poles earlier on when I was leading like pole walking classes for people with Parkinson's many years ago, and we were just using like the generic ones from Amazon, and they just don't quite do the same thing. And I think that was part of it. Like, sometimes we had a lot of trouble getting buy-in, and people like, my walking's fine. Why do I need to work on walking? And you're like, why would you? It's a whole body workout when you're doing the pulls, but it is a different experience when you have the right pulls.
Completely different. And there's so many more, as a therapist, safety features and comfort features that make me feel more confident when my clients are using them as well. So yeah, and so clinicians, they're like, how can you get 4 continuing education credits with our course? And they're like, how can you talk about polls for 4 hours? I'm like, it is, it goes by so fast, and there's so much to talk about. We talk about the research behind pole walking and different techniques and our polls and exercises and how to treat in the clinic. So um, it is, like you said, it is fun because I always try to make everything fun, but it is definitely a fun course that I wouldn't teach if it wasn't,
Yeah.
because I don't want to be bored for 4 hours.
Well, and you can't teach a course about polls and get continuing education credits. I think I've learned a lot about how the continuing education credit system works in doing what we are doing, and what can be taught and what can't, and how you can do these different application and what's involved. And you're going to be teaching, I don't even know what's in the course, but I already know it's not going to be, here are the polls and here's how you adjust them, and here's all these special features of polls. Like, sure, you'll probably mention it, but it's going to be about the science and the physiology and the exercises and the benefits of doing exercise and activities that involve something like using polls, right?
Exactly. And as a therapist, right, we love to have the science behind it. And I've really tried
Mm-hmm.
to bring in the application of us as clinicians and our clinical practice guidelines and those kind of things, so that we're not just looking at the science behind pole walking, but we're also looking at the science, the expertise and the clinical best practices and all those kind of things
Yeah.
with our professions, so that we can use them across all of the different diagnoses that we're seeing. So,
And it'll be experiential too, right? Because like that's another important aspect of our learning and how we are as physical therapists and occupational therapists, like more kinesthetic.
yes, and they're so good for us too. So it's a win-win because you can have a better exercise routine for yourself as well.
Yeah. Have you been using your poles on the trails too?
So I have not been using them to train for our ultra. But I do use them when I go hiking. We went on a girls' trip this summer, and my friends are like, I don't think we need poles. And we did a 14er. And when we got done, they were like, I wouldn't have made it without the poles. And yeah, when
Yeah,
I go hiking, I use my poles all the time.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I walk my dog around here, if I'm just going for a walk, I will use the poles when I do that. But I haven't done it yet for our ultra training because I just haven't, I don't know. I don't want to use them the whole time, and then I don't have a good way to pack them along when I'm.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to need them in Moab because we're not going to be climbing mountains. If we were doing more mountain and technical terrain, I would say yes, but I don't think we will.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, based on what I've seen. So super excited. Do you want to touch on, I kind of mentioned it earlier, how I've heard you a few times mention how running is one of your favorite pastimes. And you kind of tie it into your professional life and how they work together in regards to how you think about things.
Sure. Yeah. I think probably anyone can relate when you have like a hobby or activity that you just really love and that kind of helps you to unplug from other things in life. And I've been running pretty much my whole life. I've always enjoyed it. Although I've kind of gone through some phases where it was like, I'm kind of like not in, don't really feel like running, not motivated, or only would run when I had a friend to run with or things like that. But as soon as I don't know, something kind of switched for me. I do love having a race to sign up for and a training plan. And I feel like this is where sort of that metaphor in life really comes in. Because when you have that goal at the end and you have your training plan, you see yourself accomplishing things and making progress towards it. And then you get to that day and you achieve your goal. And it was like, wow, that was so simple. Like I just had to follow the plan and do it, with 80% of accuracy. You don't have to be perfect at any of these things. And then you achieve a goal. So it was like, okay, you're building confidence. Like I would just see myself building confidence in my ability to actually follow through with something and complete it. Big goals and scary goals like marathons, and then getting into 50Ks. That's the most I've done yet in an ultra is 50K. But it was like, what if I could use this same method for other goals of mine? Like there was a time a while back when I was sort of transitioning from clinical work to being into NeuroCollaborative and working less in the clinic and not making enough money and racking up debt. And then it was like, okay, how do I use my knowledge and my confidence that I have with running to like pay off debt? And it was just really about like knowing that I could do that because I've done hard things in other areas of life, like running, that I could do that financially as well. And so that I was able to do with just using that same methodology, and then in business and work as well. I think it's just, yeah, like seeing yourself do something that other people think is really hard. And you're like, okay, I can do that. And so now I can apply it in these other areas.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And you're also a really great mentor because I think that reason why I'm here doing this is because I mentioned at the last Enjoy Day that, I've thought about doing an ultra before. And you were like, well, let's do one. And I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yes, I can't wait to do it. And then we also met another person last year when we were at Academy of Neurologic Physical Therapy conference together. You were representing Urban Pulling and we were there as
Yes.
NeuroCollaborative.
Yeah.
And I think he made it sound very easy and doable as well. And it is very doable. You just have to have your plan and carve out, make sure you have the time and give yourself that balance. But the thing I love about trail running that I feel like most people don't get and understand, and with ultras and trails, a lot of people think running feels like torture and they don't want to do it at all. But I feel like running is one of the most simple things to do ever. It is like life broken down to its simplest pieces. When you're out there in trails for hours and hours, all you have to do is eat and drink and keep moving forward. You are going to feel like crap at times, you're going to feel amazing at times, you're going to have these ups and downs, and all you have to do is just eat your fuel, drink your water, and just keep making forward progress. And like, you don't have to think about anything else, and that's hard in life. And that's what I like.
That is true. I mean, and I think the reason why I didn't do so good in my marathons before is because I wasn't fueling my body properly when I was running. But the other things that when you're out there running, it can be freeing and you don't have to think about anything, but it is also a good time to really, like, I do a lot
Process.
of good creative
Me
stuff when I'm out
too.
there. Sometimes I'm like, I need to write this down.
Yes, that is my
Um,
best processing time. It's really like races that I'm feeling too. Like, it's just, this is the only goal for the day, is just to like
yep.
keep moving. And it's different road running than trails, because in the road, there's like thousands of people next to you. Everyone's like racing it. Whereas a lot of ultra running and trail running is like a lot more laid back, and you're in nature and you just get to enjoy being outside, and the freedom of moving, and just that gratitude that you're able to just dedicate time to doing that, and that your body is capable of getting you from point A to point B.
Absolutely. And being in nature, like I love coming around the corner and then there's a 5 deer standing in front of me, right? Or there's this big, beautiful sunrise right there. I'm like, oh
Oh,
my gosh, I get to do this. So yeah, I'm super excited about next month. And Erin, I really appreciate you being on here today. I enjoyed learning more about you. Um, and NeuroCollaborative. I already knew mostly everything about NeuroCollaborative, but I love sharing it, just like I love sharing the polls, because I feel like, again, it's a great, great resource for so many people. Everybody should join NeuroCollab if they're interested in neuro and they're a clinician, I think. And I think everybody, all clinicians should have a pair of activator polls as a
yeah.
tool for them. But is there anything else that we haven't touched on today that you'd like to talk about in regards to NeuroClap? Should we talk about Rogue a little bit and Claire?
We can definitely talk about that. I mean, she's been a big inspiration. So Claire McLean, my business partner in NeuroCollaborative, runs and founded Rogue PT and Wellness, a Parkinson's gym in Orange County, California, and has just been a great model for others who want to create something that's different. And that's really what we love promoting and helping people believe is possible. I mean, you even developed a model of business that fits your lifestyle and your community and what you want to provide. So it just, nothing should be cookie cutter when it's in neuro. Everything is a special unicorn. And you have to believe that that is possible, because you can see that other people are doing the things that you didn't know existed or could exist, and they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You can do hard things if you put your mind to it,
Yeah. I
just
think
like
it
we
just
talked
helps
about.
to see other people doing things that you didn't know were possible or that existed out there, and it just helps people have their own creative juices about what they want to create. So if like you're unsure about a program you want to start, or if you should be a business owner yet you're unhappy with certain aspects of your job, it can be very inspiring to see what other people are doing and hearing about their stories and their journeys. And even in some of the non-traditional and non-clinician type roles, like you have partly with urban polling, I have with NeuroCollaborative, it's not something that I would have ever thought was the route that I would go as a PT, and still feeling extremely fulfilled, and knowing that I'm actually still using my PT knowledge so much, even if I'm not working one-on-one with patients anymore.
Absolutely. And you guys provide one-on-one coaching as well for
Mm-hmm.
people outside of just the group. So that is awesome too with Emily.
Yeah, exactly. So that helps, really answer those specific questions that you have about your own model and what would be possible and what would work in your community. How many people do you need to see a week in order to make it happen, to reach your financial goals, and, to really put that hope in and see where your future could be is important.
That was one thing that was so different when I started coming to the business sessions, was that um, people were very open about how much they were making, how much they were charging. They opened their books for you to see. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that has like always been hush hush in every
Yeah.
other job that I've been at. You're not supposed to talk about how much you're making and those kind of things. So it's just refreshing that, I mean, people really want you to succeed at what you want to be doing.
Mhm.
And they're willing to open up their vulnerabilities and to be able to help other people. So
Yeah, we have to normalize the money conversation a lot. There's a lot of weird money stuff in healthcare, and that is just not healthy and helpful for anybody who, if we wanted to be making millions of dollars and being like uber wealthy, none of us would be doing what we're doing, but we should still be allowed and deserving of making as much money as we want to make, because we are helping people. Like, our mission is ultimately to change lives and help people. If we wanted only the money, there are a lot easier ways to do it than what any of us are doing. So people kind of worry about seeming greedy or seeming selfish or focused only on money. Yeah, that's not. If you're worried about that, that's not what's happening.
absolutely. Yes, you're absolutely correct. So let's talk about anything else that you want to how can people find you, I guess?
Yeah. So we're pretty active on Instagram at NeuroCollaborative. So definitely follow us there. And then also have a really great group of over 5,000 PTs, OT students, fitness professionals on Facebook inside the NeuroCollaborative Professionals group. So that group tends to be a great place for people who are asking clinical questions, as well as where can I find a neurotherapist who lives in this area? And that is always a challenge. We want to see more and more specialists as in many places as possible. And there's some directories that are helpful too. So we might direct you to something like that, but it always also helps to just have a group where you can brainstorm with and collaborate and find people. So I would say those are good places. And then you could also follow me on Instagram at Erin G_NeuroDPT on Instagram. Did I say Instagram? Yeah. Instagram.
Yes, perfect. And then once you start following them, and if you fall in love with them, then you can look at becoming a Sparky with NeuroSpark. The membership, it only opens up to be able to become a member every so often. And I know we just started this quadrimester, so it'll be a while, but definitely start following them to see if that's of interest. And then once again, Dendrite Days is October 26th.
Yeah. And the urban polling course is the 25th, October 25th.
Yes. So for you Sparkies that are out there, make sure you sign up for both. And if you're not a Sparky, you're still able to come to the activator course the day before, and you can check out Rogue, which is where Claire, the co-founder of NeuroSpark, has her Parkinson's gym at. So thank you everybody for being here today. Thank you, Erin, for your time and all of your expertise. It's always fun talking to you.
You too. Thank you so much for having me, Joy.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Polling Podcast with Dr. Joy Cochran, PT, DPT. This episode was edited by Rodrigo Silva. For more on urban and activator polls, visit us at urbanpolling.com or find us on Amazon. We can't wait to have you with us again next time. Happy polling, and thanks for listening.